I'll record it. Okay. Your read line returns everything in the form of a string, but read returns an integer value. What is that integer value? That is your ASCII key value. Let's say if I press A, what is the ASCII key number of A? That is going to be returned. Read returns that number, the respective key number. But when it comes to read key, it returns complete your ASCII key information, like what you have entered, what is the equivalent ASCII key number, what is the ASCII key. That complete information will be entered, will be returned by your read key. I'll show you one of the example. Okay. Console dot write line. Please enter a number. Okay. Is equal to console dot read line. You need to convert it because it is a integer. Next. Please enter a number. Some b is equal to console.read. See, here it was asking for conversion, but see, here it is not asking for conversion. So what it will do, whenever you enter any number, even if you have entered multiple digits, like let's say I've entered number 23. In 23, each digit will be considered as one character. So in 23, how many characters are there? 2 characters are there. So as I said, always console.read reads only one character. It cannot read multiple characters. Even if you have entered more than one digit or more than one character, but it always reads only one character. And that too, the character will not be written in the original format. The internal ASCII key number of that character will be written by the read. So here finally it is going to return. You can press any key. The ASCII number of that particular character is going to be written by your console.read, but it reads only one value at a time, only one character. And coming to read key returns complete ASCII information of that particular key, not only number, not only character, the complete ASCII key information, like which key has been pressed, what is the ASCII number of that key, what is the character, complete information is going to be written. Okay, so if at all you need to work with some console related applications, like when it comes to gaming program, especially this read key and read will be more useful in the gaming programs. Coming to gaming programs, so you mostly you'll be playing your games with your only your keys, right? Up key, left key, right key, down key, space. Mostly 90% of the cases will be working with only keys. So there you need to capture that complete console and you ask information to play around. So there it will be more useful. That is the reason Microsoft has provided this feature. So wherever you need to capture the complete ASCII key information, so there you need to use read key. Okay, so this is going to return console key information. Here Microsoft has designed a special data type called console key. Console, like this there are many special data types, later we'll see that. Console key info, some key info. Okay, so I am going to ask user to enter one more variable. Please enter a number. I'm going to store this information into, I'm going to read this using console read key, which is going to return console key information that is going to be stored under key info. So let's keep one breakpoint here and see live execution. please enter a number. First, we are going to read this number using read line. See, I entered 123. Let's pin all these. Okay. So we have entered 123. The 123 has been written in the original format, but it has been written in the form of a string. That's how we got that original value. Now I'm going to enter one number that is going to be read using console.read. Let's see what will be written through console.read. As I said, talk about console.read. So what it will return? It returns an integer of that respective key. If you press A, so internal whatever the ASCII value set to that particular key, so that is going to be returned to the end user. So let's see that. Please enter a number. See, I'm going to enter A. See, I entered character. So, but what it has written? 65. 65. What is 65? The internal ASCII representation of that particular character. When you talk about console.read line, so whatever is entered in the console window, that same value will be returned. When it comes to console.read, it accepts only one character. Even if I have entered, let's say if I enter A, B, C, D, it accepts only the first one, A. And the particular character ASCII value will be returned. In case of read line, the original character will be returned. In case of read, the internal ASCII value will be returned. Okay, next. So that's why here you can see 65. Next, let's go through read key. I entered some BB. See, here you can see. We have entered more than one character, but read key also reads only one character at a time. Only console.readline reads more than one character. But coming to read or read key, both reads only one character at a time. So read returns the ASCII number of that particular character. When it comes to read key, it returns complete ASCII information of that particular character. See, here you can see what is the key that you have pressed and what is the key character. It is 66th, and there are some modifiers, shift and that related information. Okay, so this information will be useful. So in the gaming programs, there you need to capture the low level information of each and every key. You need to know what is happening in the keyboard, because there you need to play around all keys of your keyboard. So there this method will be more useful. So mostly we'll be using a read key in the gaming programs. Okay, any questions, guys? Did you understand the difference between read line, read and read key? Okay, okay, perfect. So if you want to stop debugging in the middle, just click on this square symbol. Okay, so let's go back to our next concept, that is statements in C#. Statements in C#. This is very, very important. What is a statement? Why we need a statement in C#? So basically, whenever you want to perform any action based on set of conditions, when you want to perform any action based on set of condition, then you'd be needing statements. For example, when it comes to a government job recruitment, whenever you want to accept the candidate profile, before accepting his profile, you need to validate minimum criteria. Like as per the recruitment criteria, candidate qualification should be minimum graduation and his age should not exceed 35 years. His age should not exceed 35 years because we cannot blindly accept the profiles, right? We cannot blindly accept applications of the candidate. Before accepting his application, you need to check minimum criteria, whether he is eligible for the job or not. And what is your action? Accepting or rejecting his profile. That is what our action. Our action has to be done based on set of validation, set of conditions. Before performing your action, you need to validate set of things, right? So first you'll have to check where his age is less than or equal 35 years or not. If it is really less than or equal 35 years, then accept his profile. If it is greater than 35 years, reject his profile. So accepting or rejecting profile is our action. So that action has to be done based on set of conditions. Before performing your action, you need to validate set of conditions. So when you need to validate set of conditions before performing your actions, then you'd be needing statements. That validation can be done using statements. Okay, so let's see what are the different statements available in C#, in how many different ways a validation can be performed in C#. The first and important statement is going to be if statement. If when you want to perform any action based on set of conditions, then we require if statement. Let's see how to validate your conditions using if statement. If you look into the syntax, how to validate my condition, you have to write something like this. You'd use a system defined keyword called if. This is system defined keyword. As I said, C# is a case sensitive. If this starts with small letter, you should also write in small letter, small casing. If you write it in the opposite casing, it will not be treated as a valid keyword. It throws the error. Okay. If conditions, not only one condition, you can write a number of conditions based on your requirement. Let's say sometimes you may need to write only one condition. Sometimes you may need to validate multiple conditions. So that depends upon your requirement. But ultimately here, that is the reason I mentioned it as conditions. It can be a one condition or multiple conditions. Whenever you want to write multiple conditions, then you have to use logical operators. We have discussed this when we were discussing about operators. Right? What is the use of a logical operators and or? When you want to validate more than one condition at a time, then you'd be needing logical operators. So that we'll see later. But ultimately, you're not only one condition, you can validate more than one condition at a time based on your requirement. So write your condition based on your business requirement. Next, beginning of if block, end of if block. Beginning of if block, end of if block. And within this block, you can write any kind of action. What is the action? Your action can be a single statement or a group of statements. That is the reason I mentioned as statements. Not only one statement, you can write n number of statements. There is no limitation at all. Your action between opening and closing braces. This will indicate beginning of the block, end of the block. So within this block, you can write any kind of action and n number of actions. Your action can be a single statement or group of statements. So what will happen in case of if? How the execution takes place when it comes to compiler? See, when you talk about execution process of if, once the compiler comes to your if statement, first it validates all these conditions First, it validates all these conditions. It will go inside of your black if and only if all these conditions are satisfied. If the condition gets satisfied, you can take any condition. Finally, it is going to return a Boolean value that is going to be either true or false. If the condition gets satisfied, it returns true. If it is not satisfied, it returns false. So every time, this is your action. Your action has been placed inside the if black. So first controller checks these conditions. It will go inside of your black if and only if all these conditions are true, all these conditions are satisfied. If any one of these conditions is unsatisfied, it will never go inside of your black, and your statement, your action will not be executed. So your action will be executed if and only if this condition is true. If the condition is false, this action will not be executed. Okay, so whenever you want to perform any action based on set of conditions, then you need to put your action inside the if black, and here you can write a number of conditions based on your requirement. So what your controller will do, it will execute your action, it will execute your statement if and only if this condition is true, that condition is satisfied. Let's see one example. When it comes to sub-inspector or any government recruitment, as per our criteria, we need to validate only age of the candidate. We should check because age is mandatory for government recruitment. So as per our criteria, age should not exceed 35 years. The age should be less than or equal to 35 years. So if his age is really less than or equal to 35 years, then only accept his profile. Otherwise, don't accept it. Right? So here, what is our action? Accepting or rejecting the profile. That is what our action. But that action has to be invoked based on our condition. Let's write this. If what needs to be validated? Age needs to be validated. So if age is less than or equal to 35, then go to inside of this. Then if it's really less than or equal to 35, here I wrote only one statement, but here you can write a number of statements, any type of statement. I'm just simply displaying some message saying that, hey, congratulations, your profile has been accepted. So what it will do, once control comes to this statement, first it checks his age. Whatever the value is there inside age, that will be compared with 35. If this age is really less than or equal to 35, it will go inside of this black, and whatever is there inside the black, it will start executing all those instructions. If this condition is not true, if this condition is not satisfied, it will never go inside of this, so nothing will be executed. So no action will be executed. Any questions, guys, so far? Okay. Quick, your answer should be quick. Yes, yes, no, no. Okay. Okay. If the condition is true, then it will go inside of this, right? Yes, if the candidate age is really less than or equal to 35, yes, it will go inside of this black, and it prints some message saying that congratulations, your profile has been accepted. Let's say one of the candidate age is 36 years. He has entered his age as 36 years. He has entered his age as 36 years. So what will happen once control comes to this statement? So what is the value of age? 36. Is 36 is less than or equal to 35? No. 36 is greater than 35. So this condition is going to be false. Now what will happen? It will not go inside of this. So no message will be printed on the screen. Right? But candidate doesn't know what is happening inside the system, where his profile is accepted or rejected. If it is less than or equal to 35, then this message will be printed. But in case of more than 35, if the candidate has entered his age as 36 years, in that case what will happen? So this message will be printed if and only if the condition is true. If the condition is false, what will happen? So nothing will be displayed on the screen. So that's why what I'm saying here. Even if the condition is false, sometimes you need to alert the user. If the condition is false also, you need to present some other message to user saying that, hey, we are sorry, you already exceeded the maximum limit. If it is true, perform one action. Otherwise, perform another action. Read me. If it's true, do this. Otherwise, do this. So the otherwise is nothing but if else statement. Otherwise is nothing but else. If condition is true, perform this action. Otherwise, perform the action. If age is really less than or equal 35 years, print this message saying that congratulations, your profile has been accepted. Else, print this message. Sorry, you already exceeded the maximum limit. So sometimes you need to perform. This is called true black and this is called false black. If the condition is true, it will go to true black. Otherwise, it will go to false black. If the condition is true, do this. Otherwise, do this. Okay. Okay. So let's try to implement one example in C#. Okay. Let's implement example using if and if else. See, write a program. Please note down these programs to find even and odd numbers. Okay. Write a program to find even and odd. Let's say if someone asks you to find out even or odd number, let's say I gave you a number called 3. If I ask you to find out what is the even or not, what will you do? Now you'll have to automate that process. If the user enters any number, your system has to decide it is even or odd. If it is even, you have to display some message saying that, hey, this is an even number. If it is odd, you have to display one more message saying that, hey, this is an odd number. So ultimately, your program has to decide whether that given number is even or odd. Now you'll have to automate this process. So as I said, whenever you want to write any logic, so what you need to do, first you'll have to identify, so how you are doing it manually. If someone asks you to find out whether it is even or not, so how do you do it manually? So you'll have to write down those steps on the paper. Once everything is on the paper, you can convert them into logic. If someone asks you to find out whether it is even or odd, so what do you do manually? How do you do it manually? So simple. What you will be doing in the mathematics? What has to be done in the mathematics? If someone asks you to find out whether it is even or odd, so what you generally do? First, you will have to divide that number with 2, right? Generally, okay. So forget about logic. First, you need to identify the manual process. If someone asks you to do that operation, so how do you implement it manually in the mathematics? So that is what you need to write on the paper. So how do you do it? So first you need to divide this number with 2. Obviously, when you divide any number with 2, so you are going to get 2 values. In case of division, you will have 2 values, 2 results. One is quotient and one is remainder. Here, we don't require quotient. You need to check its remainder. Divide number with 2. Once the division is done, you are going to get a remainder. Check its remainder. If the remainder is equal to 0, then it is going to be a even. If the remainder is 1, then it is going to be a odd number. So based on that remainder, so you will be able to decide whether the given number is even or odd. If the remainder is equal to 0, then print it as even. If it is other than 0, not only 1, if it is other than 0, print it as odd number. So that is what we need to write here, right? Okay, first you'll have to decide how many variables are required. Your user is going to enter only one number. User is going to enter only one number. So to accommodate that value, I'm going to define a variable called int a, or you can take it as number. Anything is fine. If you divide this number with 2, you are going to get two results, quotient and remainder. We don't require quotient, so you can ignore it. But ultimately, you need to capture the remainder of the operation. So to store remainder, I'm going to take one more variable. Okay, so our memory locations are ready. Next one is to be done. So in order to start with your operation, first you need to get input from the user. You'll have to ask user to enter the number. So whenever you want to present something to the user, then you'll have to use console.WriteLine. Please enter a number. A is equal to, number, not A. Our variable name is number. Number is equal to, so here I'm going to use console.readLine. So ultimately it returns a string, so which has to be converted into a respective data type. That is going to be converted dot into 32. Yes, we got the input. Now you'll have to start your operation. So now first what has to be done? First, you'll have to divide that number with 2 and get the remainder. Then check its remainder. First you need to get the remainder of the division operation. So remainder is equal to, as I said, in division we have two operators, right? What are those? Slash, slash and modulus. If you use slash, if I say a by b, a slash b, so what will happen? It is going to return only quotient. If you are looking for remainder, you will have to use modulus operator. So in our case, we are going to need a remainder. That's why I'm using modulus operator. So remainder is equal to number modulus 2. If you use slash, it will give you only quotient. If you use modulus, it gives you remainder. Now what it will do? It will divide number with 2 and 2 results will be generated out of this. One is going to be quotient, one is going to be remainder. If you have used slash as a modulus, that is the reason. So this operation is going to return only a remainder that is going to be stored under rem. Now what has to be done? Now you'll have to validate this remainder. Validate. When validation comes into the picture, then you need to use statement. When something has to be validated, that can be done through only your statement. So now what has to be done? You'll have to validate remainder. You'll have to check whether remainder is equal to 0 or not. If remainder is equal to 0, print it as even number. Otherwise, print it as odd number. So I'm just checking it. If remainder is equal to 0, beginning of the if, console dot write line, number is nothing but whatever is there in the number is an even. If remainder is not equal to 0, if remainder is equal to 0, this message will be printed. Otherwise, it's nothing but else. Otherwise, it should be printed as odd number. Console dot write line, number is nothing but input is an odd. See, here we wrote two blacks, true black, false black. it validates this condition. If the condition is true, it will go inside of the true black, and whatever is there in the true black, that will be executed. Otherwise, it will go to false black. If you write only this, what will happen? If the condition is true, it will go to this, otherwise nothing will be executed. So whenever you need to implement otherwise next black, so then you need to write else part. So in this case, what will happen? If the condition is true, it will perform one action, otherwise it will perform another action. If the remainder is equal to 0, it should be displayed as even number, otherwise is nothing but else, it should be displayed as odd number. So let's keep a breakpoint over here. Okay, now run your application. So as I said, as a regular practice, you should always write console.read to hold your console window. Enter a number. I have entered 13. Just pin it. Number. See, the user has entered input as 13, and remainder is as of now 0. We haven't calculated the remainder. Now we are at that statement. We are okay, we are just about to calculate it. Okay, the user has entered the input as 13. Now ultimately what you need to do, divide number with 2 and check its get its remainder. So that is what we are going to do here. Rem is equal to number mod 2. What it will do, it will divide number with 2 and returns a reminder which is going to be stored under rem. Just press F11 to proceed with the execution. See, now what is the remainder? It is 1. Now it checks this condition. If the condition is true, it will go to true black, otherwise it will go to false black. So what is rem? 1. What is remainder here? 1. Is 1 is equal to 0? No. So condition is going to be false. So it will not go to first black, it will go to else black. See, it went to else black because the condition is false. Just press here. See, 13 is an odd. Let's do it one more time. Enter 24. See, number 24. It checks the condition. What is the remainder? 0. Is 0 is equal to 0? Yes. Condition is true. It will go inside of true black. Now this will be executed. See, 24 is an even. So this is something about if else. Any questions, guys, so far? Okay. I believe Rajita, so this should answer your question. In the beginning you are asking something, right? Yes. So yeah, so once user enter the number, check its number, check the denominator. If denominator is equal to 0, just print some message saying that hey, denominator should not be 0, please enter another value. Okay, so anything can be validated using if statement. Okay, so if at all you need to validate more than one condition. For example, in case of that recruitment, let me show you that also. Okay, not only his age, you should also validate his qualification. You should also validate his qualification. Okay, so as per our recruitment, what is that? The qualification should be minimum of graduation. Coming to graduation, we are accepting only 3 types of degrees. Let's say BCA, BTech, and BSc. So the candidate, even if he is a graduate, but he should fall in any one of these 3 categories, right? He should fall in any one of these 3 categories. His qualification should be either BCA or BTech, BS, and along with this, his age limit should not exceed 35 years. So now we are going to ask user to enter 2 different answers. You'll have to ask him 2 different questions. Please enter your degree name. Please enter your age. So we are going to get 2 inputs from the user. So in order to accommodate those 2 inputs, you'd be needing 2 variables. So one for storing graduation name, one for storing age. Your graduation name is going to be a string. Thus I'm going to define a data type of string. String degree name. Like age is going to be integer. Int age. Now ask user to enter degree name and age. Console.WriteLine. Please give me a second. Okay. Okay. Now you need to ask user to enter. If you want, you can enter these 2 questions one by one. Otherwise, you can also ask user to enter all these questions at a time. You can ask something like this. Please enter. Rather than asking him to enter all these questions one by one, so you can ask whatever you need to get from the user. You can ask all those questions at a time with only one write line statement. Like please enter your age or your degree and age. Okay, you don't have to use 2 separate write line statements to ask 2 different questions. You can ask all your questions at one shot. Okay, so console.WriteLine, please enter your age and degree and age. So once you see this message, so what he will do, you will also follow the same sequence. Here we ask degree, then age, right? So first you will enter degree name, then you will enter age name. Okay, so here you would assume that the first value is going to be degree and second value is going to be age. In this case, if at all you are going to ask him to enter multiple values at a time, so you should also follow the same sequence. Okay, okay. So once you see this message, what he will do, first he will enter his degree name, then he will enter his age name. So the first value should be stored into your degree name variable and second value should be considered as age. Okay, okay. Console.readLine. We are going to read the first value that should be stored into degree name. What is the data type of degree name? String. What console.readLine is going to return? String. So do I need to convert this into any other data type? No. Because user is going to enter a degree is a string. He is going to enter, so which is coming in the form of a string, right? He is going to enter a string that is also coming in the form of a string. And what is the data type of degree name? String. Console.readline is returning string. So data types are matched. So no conversion is required. If at all that data type is different, the left side data type is different from right side data type, then only conversion will come into the picture. If both the data types are equal, then no conversion is required. Okay, so the type of degree name is string. Console.readLine always returns everything in the form of a string. So string is going to be matched with string. So no conversion is required. That's why see, it's not showing any error over there. Okay, so the first value is going to be degree. So read the first value. As soon as you enter the value, what your console.readline will do, it reads that value from the console window and returns it in the form of a string, which is going to be stored under degree name. Next, when you enter second value, so it should be treated as a age. So age is equal to, so age is an integer. Here you need to convert it into respect data type, because console.readline reads it in the form of a string and it will be written in the form of a string. So a string cannot be accommodated into integer type. So here conversion is required. Convert to dot 2 into 32 of console.readline. Right? So as entered is degree and age. Now what has to be done? So you'll have to decide whether his profile has to be accepted or not. Here we are going to perform our action based on multiple conditions. In the previous case, we have validated only one condition, but here you need to validate more than one condition. His degree should be either BCA or BTech or BSc, and age should not exceed 35 years. Age should be less than or equal to 35 years. You need to check both the conditions. Degree should fall in any one of these three, and age should be less than or equal to 35 years. So whenever you want to validate anything, you need to use statement that is going to be if. Here you need to validate more than one condition. When you want to validate multiple conditions, then you'll have to use logical operators. If both the conditions are to be satisfied, your age should be 35 years and degree should be either in this or in this. If both are to be satisfied, then you have to use AND. If any one of them is fine, if any one of them is satisfied, then proceed with your operation. In that case, you'll have to use OR symbol. Either this or this, then go ahead. If and only if both are satisfied, then go ahead with this action. In that case, we'll have to use AND. So in our case, as per our criteria, both the conditions should be satisfied. Age should be less than or equal to 35 and degree should be any one of these three. Then only proceed with the next level operation. Otherwise, don't proceed. Okay. So first you need to validate age condition. Age should be less than or equal to 35. And not only age, and what is the next condition? This degree should be either BCA or BTech or BSc. See here, you need to use one more logical operator. Coming to degree name can be BCA, either BCA or BTech or BSc. Here you need to validate, you need to compare degree with three possible values. Those are going to be BCA, BTech and BSc. You'll have to check whether degree is equal to BCA or BTech or BSc. If the degree satisfies any one of these three conditions, then it should be treated as a valid condition, valid one. Okay, so that is the reason I'm going to take OR operator. See, if degree name should be either BCA or degree name should be either BTech or degree name should be either BSc. See, up to here this only one condition. Age should be less than or equal to 35 and degree should be any one of these three. Right? Age should be less than or equal to 35 and in the second condition, again we are writing multiple conditions. What is that? It should belongs to either BCA or BTech or BSc. If you use R, yes, see, we have written three conditions using R. So what is the nature of R? Out of these three, if any one of these condition is satisfied, so this total result is going to be true. This condition is going to return true if any one of this condition is satisfied. If all these are going to be false, if all these conditions are unsatisfied, then only it is going to return false. In case of R, if any one of those condition is true, satisfied, it returns true. It returns false if and only if all those conditions are unsatisfied. If the candidate belongs to BCA, it returns true. Or if it belongs to BTech, it returns true. Or if it belongs to BSc, it returns true. If it belongs to another degree, if it is not BCA and not BTech and not BSc, in that case, all these conditions are going to be false. Then only it returns false. So in case of and returns true if and only if all conditions are satisfied. R returns false if and only if all conditions are unsatisfied. That is the difference between and R. Once again I repeat, and returns true if and only if all conditions are true, all conditions are satisfied. If any one of them is unsatisfied, it is going to return false. In case of R, it returns false if and only if all conditions are unsatisfied. If any one of them is satisfied, it is going to return. It is going to return true. It is totally reverse. In case of and returns true if and only if all conditions are true, all conditions are satisfied. R returns true if any one of them is satisfied. Here and returns false if you are writing multiple conditions. It returns true if and only if all conditions are satisfied. If any one of them is unsatisfied, it is going to return false. But in case of R, it is totally reverse. It is going to return false if and only if all conditions are unsatisfied. If at least one condition is satisfied out of all, if any one of them is satisfied, it is going to return true. That is the difference between and R. So you will have to choose these two operators based on your requirement. So in our case, what is our requirement? You should validate both the conditions, age and degree. Age should be less than or equal to 35 and degree should be any one of these. That is the reason here I've used AND operator. And to validate these conditions, I have taken separate bracket, because this is going to be a separate condition. Here as per our requirement, age should be true and this whole condition should also be true. That's why inside this condition I've used R operator, because degree should be either BCA or BTech or BSc. If any one of these three conditions is satisfied, this entire result is going to be satisfied. This is going to be written true. So this second part is going to return false if and only if all the three conditions are unsatisfied. Okay. So now if the condition is true, if his age is less than or equal to 35 and if the candidate belongs to any one of these three degrees, then what has to be done? We'll have to print a message saying that congratulations, any message. Else, if the condition is false, ultimately you need to present one more message. And here you need to remember one thing. This opening and closing braces. If your action contains only one statement, then these are optional. These are optional. If you want, you can use, but these are optional. If your action contains more than one statement, then opening and closing braces are mandatory. Okay, if you are going to write only one statement, either in true black or false black, then this opening and closing braces are not mandatory, but still if you want you can keep it, but it will increase the complexity, right? If you're going to write only one statement, these are not mandatory. These are optional. If you want, you can keep it. Else, console dot write line. Sorry, your profile has been rejected. Okay, let's keep a breakpoint here. Please enter your degree and age. I'm going to enter my degree as BCom. As per our criteria, it should be either BSc, BTech or BCA. Enter it as BCom and age is 23 years. See, his degree is BCom and his age is 23 years. Now what will happen? It checks this condition. What is the age? 23. Is 23 is less than or equal to 35? Yes, condition is true. Next, it will validate next condition. What is his degree? Is entered his degree as BCom. First we will compare the first one. Is it equal to BCA? No. At least is it equal to BTech? No. At least is it equal to degree BSc? No. So no condition of second part is going to be satisfied. No condition of second part is going to be satisfied. So as I said, so what will happen? If all conditions are not satisfied, it returns false. If any one of them is satisfied, it returns true. So what second part is going to return now? Here all conditions are not matched. So second part is going to return false. Your first part is true, but second part is false. If we are using AND operator, in case of AND, if both are true, then only the condition is going to be satisfied. If any one of them is false, unsatisfied, condition is not going to be true. So yeah, the first condition is satisfied, but second part is not satisfied. So what will happen? This old condition is not going to be satisfied. The old condition is going to return a false. So it will not go to true black. Ultimately, it will go to false black. See, it went to false black. Sorry, your profile has been rejected. Let's try another case. I entered my degree as BTech and age as 34. Say degree is BTech. Unsigned. BTech and 34. So degree is BTech and age is 34 years. First, it validates the first part. In not only two parts, you can write n number of parts. You can check n number of conditions based on your requirement. Okay, wherever you want to, wherever you need to use AND, so you can there you can use AND n number of times. Not only one time, two times, three times. Based on your requirement, you may need to write AND n number of times or n number of times to frame your condition. Okay, so there is no limitation on those. It will validate the first part. What is the first part? Age. What is the value of age? 34. Is 34 is less than or equal to 35? Yes. Condition is true. So first part has become true. Next, second part. It checks degree name with BCA. Is it BCA? No. This condition is false. Next, it will go to second part. Is it BTech? Yes. This condition is true. In case of R, there can be 100 different conditions. If any one of them is satisfied, the complete operation, that result is going to be satisfied. Right? Let's say there are 100 R's, like degree name is equal to 1, or degree name is equal to 2, degree name is equal to 3, degree name is equal to 100. In 99 cases are unsatisfied, but the last case is satisfied. So what will happen? The entire result is going to be true. The entire result is going to be false if and only if all 100 conditions are unsatisfied. So that is the nature of R. So yes, this is going to be matched with BTech. Yes, out of these three, this condition is satisfied. So the second part is going to return true, because here we have used R. If any one of these three conditions is satisfied, the entire result is going to be true. So the first part is true and second part is also true. True and true is going to be true. So the whole condition is going to be satisfied. The whole condition is going to return true. So if the condition is true, it will go to true black. See, it went to true black. See, congratulations, your application has been processed for next level of interview. So this is something about how to write multiple conditions, how to validate multiple conditions at a time using AND and OR operators. Any questions, guys? Okay. So let's move towards the next one. Okay. Thank you. See, here I have a different requirement. Let's say in one of the company I'm working as HR. Now I'm going to recruit few .NET people. Okay. We are going to conduct drive on .NET. Obviously, you need to define some criteria for your requirement, like what is the technology that we are going to consider, and how much experience that a candidate should have, and what is the maximum salary that we are going to pay. So here we need to decide the technology, experience level, and salary grade, right? Let's say for 2 years experience guy, my company is ready to pay maximum of 8 lakhs. If he expects 18 lakhs, can we pay that much amount? We cannot go beyond that, right? So before accepting candidate profile, first you need to validate that minimum conditions, whether profile is satisfying our criteria or not. If that is satisfies your criteria, then only process his profile for next level of interview, right? Let's say we are looking for .NET guys, but he is a Java guy. Why should I consider his profile? Let's say, yes, we got .NET profile only, but that candidate is having only 1 year experience. We're looking for 5 years experienced people. So why should I process it for next level, right? So that validation should be done in the first level of validation. See, as per my criteria, technology should be .NET because we are looking for only .NET resources. And experience level, he should have minimum of 2 years experience. Candidate should have minimum of 2 years experience. It means it should be greater than or equal to 2. He should have minimum of 2 years experience. And expected CTC, if he expects as per our organization standards, if the candidate is having 2 years, 3 years experience, we can pay maximum up to 10 lakhs, up to 10 lakhs. There is a maximum limit. The pay scale should be between 7 to 10. 7 to 10. So if the candidate expected CTC is greater than 10, we cannot pay it, right? So that is the maximum limit is 10. So here expected CTC should be less than or equal to 10 lakhs. Less than or equal to 10 lakhs. This is what our criteria. Okay. Okay. So out of these three conditions, now tell me which condition has to be verified first and which has to be verified last. Because you need to follow some hierarchy here. See, if he's not a .NET guy, why should I check his experience level? If he's not a .NET guy, if he's not having minimum 2 years, why should I check his expected CTC? It's a waste of time, right? So some hierarchy need to be followed to validate all these conditions. What is that hierarchy? First, you need to identify only .NET profiles. If he's a Java guy, why should I go for his experience level? Why should I ask him to enter his experience level? It's a waste of time, right? So first, you need to check whether that profile is .NET profile or not. First, you need to ask user to enter his technology. Where is the dot? First, you need to check where is a .NET guy or not. If he's really a .NET resource, then ask him to enter his experience level. If he's not a .NET guy, why should I ask him to enter his experience level? So first, validate his technology. If he's really a .NET guy, then go for next validation. If he's not a .NET guy, you can reject his profile there itself. If he's really a .NET guy, then ask him to enter his experience level. If he's really having more than 2 years experience, then only ask him to enter his expected CTC. Let's say he's .NET guy, but he's having only 0 years experience. But we are looking for minimum of 2 years experience profile, right? So if he's not having 2 years experience, so why should I ask him to enter his expected CTC, right? So first you'll have to validate his technology. If he's really a .NET guy, then only validate his experience level. If he's really having 2 years experience, then only go for next condition. Ask him to enter his expected CTC and validate his expected CTC. See here, one condition has to be validated based on another condition, right? Expected CTC has to be verified if and only if is having 2 years of experience. And experience level has to be verified if and only if is a .NET guy, right? Here one condition has to be validated based on another condition. Here how do you write it? First check his technology. If technology is equal to .NET, if he's a really .NET guy, then this condition will become true. It will go inside of your if block. Yes, once it comes inside the if block, it means yes, he's a .NET guy. Now you need to check one more condition. If experience level is greater than or equal to 2, if he's really having 2 or more than 2 years experience, it will go inside of that is respective if block. Yes, if he's really having 2 years of experience, then go for next condition. If expected CTC is less than or equal to 10, then only accept his profile. If any one of these conditions is unsatisfied, you can reject his profile at any level. If he's .NET guy, you can reject it. He's a .NET resource, but he's having less than 2 years experience. You can reject it right there. He's a .NET guy, he's having 2 years experience, but is expecting 18 lakhs. Here also you can reject. So your his profile can be rejected at any level. But this profile can be accepted if and only if all these levels are satisfied. Here one condition is going to be validated based on another condition. ECTC condition will be validated if and only if the experience level condition is satisfied. Experience level condition is going to be validated if and only if the technology condition is satisfied. Here you need to validate one condition based on other set of conditions. When you need to validate one condition based on other set of conditions, there you need to write if inside another if. So that concept is called as nested if. That concept is called as nested if. Our next concept is going to be, we have seen if statement, if else, nested if. So how do we validate it? First, check his technology. If technology is equal to .NET, then only go for next condition. If this condition is really true, it will go inside of this. So once it comes inside of true block, it means yes, is a .NET resource. Now check his experience level. If experience level is really greater than or equal to 2, then only go for next condition. See, your ECTC condition will be verified if and only if the above condition is true. If experience level is equal to 0, what will happen? It will never go inside of true block. So this condition will never be validated. If he is not a .NET resource, it will never go inside of this. So experience level conditions will not be validated. So ECTC will be validated if and only if experience level condition is satisfied. Experience level will be validated if and only if technology condition is satisfied. See, if there is some parent-child hierarchy is defined. Here one condition is going to be validated based on other set of conditions. So this kind of chain process can be implemented using only nested if. What is meant by nested if? If at all you are writing if inside another if inside another if, that process itself is called as nested if. So let's try to implement this. Okay. Any questions, guys, so far? Okay. Here we are going to ask user to enter three values, three inputs: technology, experience level, and expected CTC. Technology, coming to technology, it is going to be a string. You will enter some characters, say .NET, Java, PHP, or whatever it is, Hadoop. Technology. Next, experience level. It can be a single float or anything, so I just consider it as integer. Experience level. Next, expected CTC. ECTC. First, I don't have to ask him to enter all these three values at a time, right? Here also you need to follow some hierarchy. First, ask him to enter his technology. If he's a .NET guy, then only ask him to enter his experience level. If he's not a .NET guy, why should I ask all these things at a time? Why should I ask him to enter the values of technology, experience level, and ECTC? So ask him one by one based on your validation criteria. Okay. So first, I'm going to ask him to enter his technology. Please enter your primary skill. And read his technology. Technology is equal to, sorry, we are assigning the value is equal to console.readline. So his user is going to enter a string, so no conversion is required. Immediately don't ask him to enter experience level in ECTC, because if he's not a .NET guy, you don't have to ask him to enter his experience level. You don't need to worry about it. So first you need to validate his technology. If technology is equal to .NET, if he's not a .NET guy, your profile can be rejected here itself. Console.WriteLine. Sorry, we are looking for only .NET resources, right? If he's not a .NET guy, you don't have to do anything. Just simply present some message to you saying that, sorry, we are looking for only .NET resources. If the resource is really a .NET guy, if he has entered technology is equal .NET, now you have to ask him to enter his experience level. Console.WriteLine. Please enter your total IT experience or your experience in .NET. Anything is fine. Now read his experience level. Experience level is an integer, so it has to be converted. Console.readline. Next, what has to be done? You should not ask him to enter ECTC immediately. First, you need to validate the experience level condition. If experience level, as per our criteria, you should have minimum of 2 years experience. So it should be greater than or equal to 2. If he's not having 2 years experience, here also you can reject it. Else, if experience level is greater than or equal to, then go with further process. Otherwise, here also you can reject it. Console.WriteLine. Your profile has been rejected. Candidate must have minimum of 2 years experience. Okay. Yes, the user has entered .NET. That's why we ask him to enter experience level. Yes, his experience is also more than 2 years. He's having around 2.5, 3 years of experience. Yes, go for next level. Now you have to ask him to enter his expected CTC. Console.WriteLine. Please enter anything. What is your expected CTC? Now read this ECTC. So it is not a string, so it has to be converted. Right? Now you have to validate its expected CTC. This is the last condition. If ECTC, I'm not writing lakhs, I'm just writing it as is less than, as per our criteria, we can pay maximum up to 10 lakhs. That is a maximum end limit. So it should be less than or equal to 10 only. If he expects more than 10, simply you can reject his profile. Here also you can reject it with console.WriteLine. Sorry, this position has already been closed. Okay, so his profile is going to be accepted if and only if all these conditions are satisfied. If he expects less than 10 lakhs, then you can go ahead and accept his profile. Right? See here, when you talk about expected CTC, when this condition gets validated, this condition is going to be validated if and only if the experience level is satisfied. The experience level is going to be validated if and only if the technology is satisfied, right? If the technology is not satisfied, experience level will not be validated. If experience level condition is not satisfied, it will never go inside of this, so ECTC will never get validated, right? Here one condition is going to be validated based on another set of conditions. That is the reason here you need to write if inside if inside if. So this process is called as nested if. Let's run it once. Please enter your primary skill, enter it as Java. See, it will not ask you to enter experience level or this. Sorry, we are looking for .NET resources, right? Please enter your primary skill, it is .NET. Now it will ask you to enter your experience. Please enter your total experience, total IT experience, 1 year. See, your profile has been rejected. Candidate must have a minimum of 2 years experience. Please enter your primary skill. It is .NET. Total experience is 3 years. And what is your expected CTC? I'm expecting 12 lakhs. See, so this position has been already closed. Please enter your primary skill. It is .NET. Oh, I'm sorry. So we need to convert it, but okay. That will be our next session. Please enter a primary skill. It is .NET. Total IT experience is 3 years. Expected CTC is only 6 lakhs. See, congratulations. Your profile has been considered. See, your action will be executed if and only if all these conditions are satisfied. If any one of these conditions is unsatisfied, your action is not going to be performed. Right? So this action will be performed if and only if all these conditions are satisfied. If any one of these conditions is unsatisfied, it can be rejected at any level. Your action will never be executed. Any questions, guys? So when it comes to real-time applications, so mostly we'll be implementing nested if concepts, because based on your real-time business case, you may need to write if inside if inside if this do this, again if this do this, again if this do this. You may need to validate multiple conditions. You may need to write multiple ifs, if inside if inside if. So that is the reason you should be aware of all the 3 use cases. And as I said, and it can be written anywhere, right? If you want, let's say we are looking for .NET and PHP resources. So technology should be either .NET or PHP. And that can be written anywhere, PHP, right? Or in case of Java, technology is called Java or J2EE or J2ME or JBoss. That depends upon your requirement. A clear question? Rajita, Priyanka, someone was asking about this.
Yeah, Ravinder, I was asking for that.
Okay.
Instead of using nested if, can we use can I mention all the conditions in a single if, saying that
Yeah, yeah,
technology.net
yeah.
and
That is what I was,
yeah,
telling. Like, if you write if technology is equal to .NET and experience level is equal to this, and
experience level to this.
in this case, you need to capture all the 3 values at a time, right? If you want to validate
Yeah,
all the 3 times at a time, you should have all the 3 values at a time, right? So in this case, you need to ask user to enter all the
yeah,
3 values at a time. Enter your technology. So that's what I'm saying. Some cases you need to follow some hierarchy. If he's not a .NET guy,
mm-hmm.
why should I ask him to enter his experience level?
Okay, yeah,
So that is the reason here we are following some hierarchy. So first we are checking his technology. So we are capturing that low level thing, right? If you enter Java, immediately we are rejecting it. We are not going for other conditions. We are not even validating other conditions. So it's a waste of time,
yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah,
So, but if you want, you can write. Sometimes, that's why. So you may need to write multiple conditions at a time, but that depends upon the scenario. See, in the previous case, we have written more than one condition at a time, right? You have to check his validate his age, as well as you have to validate his graduation. Okay, so that depends upon your requirement. So here are the same thing, like technology. If you are providing multiple options, like in .NET, whether it is Windows, you are a Windows web developer, or web developer, or mobile developer, or database developer. Okay, so all .NET related things to be considered for next level of interview. In that case, you need to write if primary skill is equal to .NET, or primary skill is equal to MVC, or primary skill is equal to console, or primary skill is equal to database. So that depends upon your requirement. Okay, any questions, guys, so far? Okay, and the next and last concept for the day. So please bear with me for more 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll finish the first level of statements in C#. Okay, okay, so next. Okay, thank you. let's say I have another scenario. See, I think you might have booked your cinema tickets online many times. Okay, if at all you are booking your tickets online, let's say Book My Show is one of the very famous website in India, bookmyshow.com. When you book your tickets online, so there you'll find some offers, like obviously you'll be using either credit card or debit card to purchase your tickets, right? So sometimes they'll be keeping some bumper offers, like if you are a Deutsche Bank customer, buy one ticket, get one ticket free. If you are a SDFC customer, you'll get 20% discount. If you are a ICICI Bank customer, you'll get 50% discount. If you are a SDFC customer, you'll get 30% discount, right? So they'll be keeping some offers like this. It will ask you to enter your card type. Once you enter card type, the system will validate. The system will decide how much offer has to be availed to the user. So what kind of offer has to be provided to the user? So the system will decide based on your card type, right? So the system will check if the card type is equal to HDFC, provide this much discount. If card type is equal to Deutsche Bank, provide this much. If card type is equal to this much, provide this much, right? So like this, it will validate your card, and based on your card type, so whatever the discount is associated with that respective card, the respective card type, so that discount will be provided to the customer, right? So here you need to automate this process. What is that process? You have to ask user to enter his card type. Once he enters his card type, here we are providing different offers for different banks. If he is ICICI Bank, we are providing 30% discount. If the card type is SDFC, we are providing 40% discount. So the discount is going to be different from bank to bank. That is the reason you will have to validate his card type. Based on his card type, you have to make that respective offer available to the user. So this is what our project. Now we'll have to automate this process, right? Because daily, some thousands of transactions will be done in your website. So you cannot check all those transactions manually. You cannot check the card type manually. So you'll have to automate this process. System has to check whenever they book tickets online. System should ask them to enter the card type. Once they enter the card type, so it has to validate the card type against all the possible options available with us. And if that falls in that category, it has to make that respective offer available to the user. Okay, so this is what our project. Now you'll have to automate this process. So how do we write this condition? Let's try this. Okay, did you understand the requirement? Okay, so this is very simple requirement. Okay, simple. We are going to provide some offers to the customers as a merchant. We are going to provide some offers to the customers. That offer is going to be based on your bank type, and that is going to be different from bank to bank. Okay, so yeah, what is the input that we need to expect from the user? You'll have to ask user to enter only his card type, I mean bank name. Okay, so I'm going to define a variable called string card type. Ask user to enter his card type. It is a Deutsche Bank card, SDFC, ICICI, Bank of America, or Merrill Lynch, Standard Chartered. So ask him to enter his card type. Console.WriteLine. Please enter your card type. Okay. Read his card type. Card type is, once you enter the value, read that card type. So console.readLine. So card type is a string, so no conversion is required. Now what has to be done? Now this card type has to be validated against list of offers available with us. You have to validate this card type. If card type is equal to ICICI, if it is ICICI Bank, console.WriteLine, congratulations, you have got 10% discount. Else, if it's not ICICI, it may be another bank customer. If card type is equal to Deutsche Bank, congratulations, you got 30% discount. Else, if card type is equal to SDFC, congratulations, you got 40% discount. So like this, you need to validate each and every bank. When it comes to the market, there are 1,000 different banks, right? There are some thousands of banks are available in the market across the world, across India, across different countries. We are providing offers to each and every bank. If at all you are providing offers to each and every bank, so what needs to be done? You need to implement your logic to validate each and every bank. For each and every bank, you'll have to write a separate if statement. If bank is equal this, if bank is equal this, if bank is equal this. If there are 1 lakh banks, what will happen? The same if statement has to be written 1 lakh times because you need to validate each and every bank. We are providing a different offer to each and every bank. It is not same across all the banks. That is the reason in order to validate each and every bank, you'll have to implement a separate if statement. If this bank, if this bank, if this bank. If at all you are going to validate 1 lakh banks, you need to write 1 lakh statements. So this if statement, the same logic, same kind of logic, same if statement is going to be repeated 1 lakh times. This is a very simple scenario. Just to achieve this simple scenario, we are writing 1 lakh instructions. We are writing the same if statement 1 lakh times. You're duplicating your logic. The same keyword is getting repeated. The same statement is going to be repeated 1 lakh times. Here, what you are doing? You're duplicating your logic, and complexity will also be increased. Readability is also going to be difficult. If any issues occurred in your code, even debugging is also going to be very difficult. Even debugging process is also going to be very difficult. See, just to write these 3 cases, we have spent a lot of time. We can see a lot of complexity. We have duplicated our logic. It has repeated 3 times. If at all you are going to validate 1,000 banks, 1 lakh banks, the same if statement has to be repeated those many times, which will increase a lot of complexity, which will put some burden on the system. And your readability is also going to be very difficult, and debugging process is also going to be very difficult. Right? Your scenario can be achieved through this, but here we have seen a lot of disadvantages. That's why what C# is recommending, if you are going to write only 3 or 4 if conditions, then fine. If the same condition is going to be repeated multiple times, you will face these many disadvantages. If the same condition is going to be repeated multiple times, then don't write that same statement again and again. Don't duplicate your logic. Don't increase the complexity. Don't put this burden on the system. Better, instead of using this same if statement, instead of writing your statement those many times, better make use of another powerful statement that is called switch statement. That is called switch statement. So let's move towards our next concept. That is going to be switch statement. So coming to switch statement, in our previous case, if at all you need to validate 1,000 banks, we used to write that if statement 1,000 different times. So as I said, that can be replaced. That kind of complexity can be reduced using another alternative powerful option that is called switch statement. When it comes to switch, you don't have to write that if those many number of times. You just need to define a case to validate each scenario. To validate each bank, just define a separate case rather than defining a separate complete if statement. like this. Switch, provide your input. What has to be validated? Bank type has to be validated. Against, here you can define n number of cases. Define a case for ICICI, define a case for SDFC, define a case for BOA. You don't have to write a separate if statement to validate each and every case. In this case, what will happen? First thing, the if statement will not be repeated those many times. Complexity will be reduced. Second thing, the readability and debugging process is very, very important. Once you deploy your application in the live environment, now support will come into the picture. If at all you are supporting the application production environment, there you will find in the production environment, you will find three types of applications: silver, bronze, and gold. Silver, bronze, and gold. Coming to gold applications, we'll be giving 24/7 support. For example, trading based applications, share market related applications. The share market will start at 9:30 a.m. and it will be closed by 3:30 p.m. Right? If you're doing some trading in any website, right? So the value will get changed for seconds. Within milliseconds, the value may go up or it may go down. So you need to keep on watching that continuously. Let's say you put trigger for some, you have put some triggers, you purchase shares for some 1 crore or 10 crores. In that case, you need to keep watching the progress of your share continuously, because it will be changing for second to second, millisecond to millisecond. In that case, if the site goes down for 1 hour, if the site is down for 1 hour, so what will happen? You put a trigger for 1 crore rupees, 10 crore rupees. If the site is down for 1 hour, you don't even know what is happening inside that. You may get 1 crore rupees profit or you may get 1 crore rupees loss, because you don't know what is happening there. In that case, the impact will be very, very high. So that kind of applications will be considered as gold level application. In case of gold level application, the SLA will be in only seconds and minutes. There should be only one outage throughout the year. If it is more than that, the provider has to pay back to the client. Whoever supporting that application, if the SLA is breached, he has to pay the penalty back to the client. It will be sometimes, it will be double than what he is getting. It might create a big loss to the client, big loss to the vendor, right? So if you're working in that kind of environment, if the issue comes immediately, you have to go back to your code, debug the issue, and get it fixed right there. There should not be even 1 second of delay, right? So in that type of cases, if your code is having a lot of complexity and readability is also very difficult, in that case, it will be very difficult to debug your issue and fix the issue. So that's why while writing your logic, you should consider all these things. You need to reduce the complexity, and readable should be very good. It should be very simple, and debugging process should also be very simple, right? So if you go to switch, the first thing, the beauty of switch is here, the complexity will be reduced and readability is going to be very simple. Debugging process is also going to be very simple. So that is the reason, if you are going to write only 2 or 3 if statements, if your statement is going to be repeated only 2 to 3 times for the same scenario, you don't have to go for switch statement. If at all, you need to validate a number of things for the same case. There you need to write the same if statement a number of times. There you can expect good amount of complexity and all. So there you need to replace it with switch statement. Don't go with if statement. Better make use of switch, where you can reduce a lot of complexity and you can see so many good things when it comes to the real-time environment. Okay, so let's go back to our Visual Studio and let's try to replace this coding with our switch statement. Okay, any questions guys so far? Okay, so let's see how to convert the same statement into switch. So as I said, when it comes to switch, sorry, input is required. You need to use a keyword called switch. Here you'll have to provide the input. What has to be validated? What has to be validated? Your card type has to be validated. Card type has to be validated. Here, earlier we used to define a separate if statement to validate each case. Here, you don't have to write if. Rather, you can define a case to define each and every validation. Case ICICI. I mean, if card type is equal to ICICI, it means if card type is equal to ICICI. Write ICICI case. Congratulations. Console.write line. And break is mandatory for every case. Later I will tell you why it is mandatory. Okay. Yes, it's done. So not only two statements, you can write n number of statements inside each and every case. Next, case is DFC. Congratulations, you have got 50% discount. Next, case Bank of America. Congratulations, you have got 40% discount. Right. So like this, you can define n number of cases. There is no limitation at all. You can define n number of cases. And the last case is going to be default. Default. Console.write line. Invalid. Card type. Enter. See, let's see the execution process of switch. How exactly the execution takes place by the compiler. Once the control comes to a switch statement, switch takes the input to be validated against all these cases. What is the input is going to be validated here? Card type. What has to be validated? Card type has to be validated. Now what it will do? Once control comes to switch, first it will go inside of the switch with this input. First it will go to case 1 and try to match this card type with ICICI. It checks where card type is equal to ICICI. If this is matched, it will go to this case and finish this execution. Let's say here we have defined 1000 cases. If the input is matched with the first case, what it will do? It will go to this respective case and start executing its instruction. Once the execution is finished, so why should I go for all other cases and verify it? So the execution should be breaked here itself. From here, you need to divert the execution to next line. You don't have to validate all other cases. That is the reason we'll be using break. If this case gets matched, this execution will take place. Once this execution gets finished, then break the execution here itself. It means divert the control to outside of switch and next line, which is next to your switch statement. If the first case doesn't get matched, next it will go to second case and try to match this value. If it is SDFC, this case will get matched. If this is matched, this execution will take place. Once the execution gets finished, the execution will be stopped, control will be diverted to next line. If the second case is not matched, then it will go to third, then it will go to fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. If no case gets matched, finally by default it will go to default case. If no case gets matched, it will go to default case. Here you can take the control and alert the user. Boss, you entered some invalid card details. Please enter a valid card type. Right? So this is something about your switch statements. Let's run it once. Let's see the execution. Please enter your card type. Let's enter it as ICICI. See, what is the card type? ICICI. See, it went to ICICI, and the respective black execution will take place. Here I wrote only one statement, but ultimately you can write a number of statements. You can write a number of conditions. Inside each case, you can write if statement, nested if else. Based on your logic, you can write any kind of action. There is no limitation. Next, please enter your bank type, BOA. See, once the execution gets finished, it will be braked. See, it went to next line. It will not verify the remaining cases. Next, you got 40% discount. The last scenario, I'm going to enter some invalid bank type. Let's say some SSS. What will happen? It will verify each and every case. If no case gets matched, finally it will go to default case. See, it came to default case. Invalid card type enter. So this is something about your switch statement. Any questions, guys? Okay, so today I took 2 hours session, and tomorrow also it will be 2 hours. Okay. So this is something about your if else, and switch statement. Okay. These are very, very important in 90% of the real-time applications, in 100% of the real applications, in most of the places. Many logics will be implemented using the combination of these three: if else, if else, switch, nested if. These are very, 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 very important. Okay. Please share all the recordings and slides. I believe till yesterday I have shared everything, right? I'll have to share only the yesterday session and today's session. But everybody has received all my recordings except yesterday and today's session. Okay, perfect. And just right after this meeting, yeah, I'll send you both the slides. I'll send you both the slides. But today I'm going to give you some more examples for your practice. Okay. Okay, guys, please note down that. And tomorrow there will be assessment for Rajita, Priyanka, and Aravind. Okay, so whatever we have discussed till now, so only that thing will be covered as part of your assessment. Okay, please do read all the concepts since beginning, since from the framework, introduction to framework. Okay, so everybody should score. So you should write, you should attempt each and everything. Okay, so everybody should get 100% score, because I'm going to share those results with your consultant, your respective folks at Sri and all. Okay, so please do read all the concepts and please do practice all these examples. Okay, I'm going to give you a few examples. Okay, please, everybody should practice it. Okay, write down. This is really one of the real-time example. Okay, everybody should practice it. See, it's very interesting. When it comes to numbers, if it is 1, how do you read it? How do you pronounce 1? We'll read it as first. If it is 2, we'll read it as second, third, fourth, and 5, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Again, if it is 11th, 12th, right? 13th, 14th. Next, if it is 21, will it as 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and the rest will be TH, 24th, 25th, 26th. Next, if it is 31, 31st, 32nd, RD or ND? Okay. See, you have to automate the process of sending birthday emails to the user. See, while sending some anniversary emails, right? You'll have to pick up the number and decide which one has to be concatenated with that number, whether it is ST, ND or RD. If it is one, it should be first. Congratulations for completing first years or 2 years, second year, third year in your company, fourth year, fifth year, or first anniversary, second anniversary, third anniversary, fourth anniversary, right? So based on that number, you'll have to decide which one has to be concatenated to that number. It is ST, ND, RD or TH. You will have to ask user to enter the number and decide which one has to be concatenated, and I mean how to read that number, which one has to be concatenated to that number, and print that. Print it as either one ST or one RD, one ND or one TH. Did you understand the concept? Did you understand the requirement? Let's say you'll have to ask user to enter the number. Let's say the user has entered 34. You should display it as 34th. Let's say one of the user has entered it as 21. You should display it as 21st. So you'll have to decide this character, how to read it, which one has to be concatenated to that number, right? So in most of the cases, except 11 and 12, in all the cases, if the last digit is 1, it should be pronounced as ST. If the last digit is 2, it should be pronounced as ND. If the last digit is 3, it should be pronounced as RD, and the rest of all cases, it is going to be TH. So what you need to do here is, the number can be anything. That is a 1-digited, 2-digited, 3-digited, n-digited number. Your focus should be on only last digit. Extract only last digit of that number and check. It is 1 except 11, 1111, 1011, 10,011, 1,11,11, and 12, 1112, 1012, 10,012, except these two, except 11 and 12, and all rest of the cases. If the last digit is 1, it should be pronounced as ST. If it is 2, ND, 3 is RD, and remaining all other cases should be TH. Right? So everybody should try it out. You will get to know many things. Okay? So this is your exercise, and I'm going to give you the same example in your assessment also. Did everybody understand the requirement? If you just simply practice whatever I taught in the classroom, that won't be helpful, right? If you practice them, you can just understand the concepts. But thing is, ultimately, you need to build logics on your own. You should be in a position to write logics on your own. So if you want to get into that position, obviously you need to practice more and more number of examples on your own. Okay, you need to put some thought process. You need to get at least scope to think about few things, new things. Okay, so please don't take any other helps. Okay, so I'm not going to, end of the day, ultimately, I'm not going to give you marks or anything, right? So ultimately my intention is to, let you know about everything. So whatever is available in C#, ultimately you are going to be a developer. You're going to develop the things in the real-time environments. That should be, you should be aware of everything. So you need to start building your, logical quotient right from here. Okay. So please do try it on your own. Don't take any other helps. Okay. If you get stuck somewhere, if you write only one line of code also, that should be fine. I'm really very, very happy. But you should write at least one line of code on your own. That is what my expectation. Okay, you don't have to complete that, you don't have to write that complete logic. Start thinking, start building line by line. Then only you'll be able to complete that complete logic. You will reach your target. Okay, so please, everybody should try it out. If you get stuck somewhere, please reach out to me. I can take you from there. I'll tell you how to go forward from there. Okay, so whether you completed one line of logic, 2 lines, 3 lines, it can be anything. But ultimately, you should try it on your own. If you complete at least one line also, I'll be more happy. Okay, from there, I'll tell you, how to write your logic. Okay, so tomorrow I'll check all your things. Okay, and tomorrow there will be 2 sessions. One for class, that same training, that same time at 7 a.m. We'll continue our regular session, training session, and right after that, we'll be spending 30 minutes to conduct your assessment. That will be for only 3 people: Rahija, Rajit, and Aravind and Priyanka. Okay. Guys, tell me, so will you try this? Are you okay to try this example? Okay. Good. Very good. I got very good responses. Okay. So I'm giving you, yeah, sure, sure. That is really good thing. You should try your best. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So I'm giving you only one example. I think, it will take at least 1 to 2 hours for you in the beginning to complete this. Okay. So, but going forward, we'll be implementing, good amount of real-time examples since we are in the beginning only. Okay. We have to learn too many concepts. Okay guys, so we'll meet tomorrow at same time. Okay, tomorrow I will check these examples. Okay, please do practice. Okay, I'll check it with everyone. Okay, so that I'll get a chance to take you from there. Okay guys, have a good night. Bye. I'll send you this session.